Julie Chrisley listed not in custody. Has she been secretly freed? The Bureau of Prisons records show that Julie Chrisley is not in custody. The Chrisley Knows Best star is supposed to be in federal custody ahead of her resentencing hearing later this month. Now, officials aren't releasing any information about where Julie is. Has she been secretly freed? Here is what has been revealed so far. Julie Chrisley listed as not in BOP custody. Julie Chrisley is listed as not in custody on the Bureau of Prisons website. When news outlets reached out about more information regarding Julie's whereabouts, they released a statement pertaining to what not in BOP custody might mean. People who are incarcerated might be listed as not in BOP custody for a variety of reasons, especially if their sentence has not been completed. They might be out of custody for a period of time to attend court hearings. Prisoners might also be listed not in BOP custody as they receive medical treatment. It's also possible to have this listed as your status as a prisoner if you have been transferred to a halfway house or supervised custody, aka house arrest. However, the Federal Bureau of Prisons stated they could not comment directly on Julie Chrisley's whereabouts and cited safety as the reason why. Julie is likely being transferred for resentencing. Todd and Julie Chrisley were found guilty of tax evasion and bank fraud in 2022. The reality TV couple received a combined 19 years behind bars, with Julie receiving a 7-year sentence. On top of that, they were also ordered to pay $17.2 million in restitution. They were ordered to report for their prison sentences in January of 2023. Todd Chrisley has been serving his time in a facility in Florida, while Julie has been located in Kentucky. Last September, their sentences were reduced. Julie Chrisley's sentence was reduced by 14 months, and Todd's was dropped by 2 years. This summer, the couple submitted their case to an appeals court. The judge withheld Todd's sentence but chose to vacate Julie's. It was determined by the court that there was not sufficient evidence to say that Julie Chrisley knew about the fraud that was happening the entire time. Since July, the Chrisley Knows Best star has been waiting for her resentencing hearing. She initially tried to get out of appearing in person in Atlanta, but the judge ruled that she would have to be present in court. Although Julie's whereabouts have not been confirmed by BOP or her attorney, it is assumed that she is likely in transit for her September 25 court hearing. It often takes a month or more for a prisoner to be transferred from one location to another. Julie Chrisley's name suddenly appeared in headlines, not for another tabloid scandal, but for something far more shocking. The Bureau of Prisons had her listed as not in custody. For anyone following the Chrisley family's tumultuous legal battles, this revelation was nothing short of a bombshell. Julie, along with her husband Todd, was serving a lengthy sentence for tax evasion and bank fraud. Their fall from grace was spectacular, a cautionary tale of wealth and fame spiraling out of control. And now questions swirled around Julie's mysterious status. Whispers began in hushed corners of the internet, fans and critics alike flocking to social media, speculating if the matriarch of the Chrisley clan had been secretly released. Was it possible? Could Julie Chrisley, the woman who once lived in opulent mansions and boasted a life of luxury, have quietly slipped out of prison without a word? As theories multiplied, the truth seemed buried beneath layers of rumor and intrigue. #the official story. According to official records, Julie Chrisley was still serving her sentence at the Federal Medical Center in Lexington, Kentucky. The facility was designed for inmates requiring medical care, and Julie had been placed there due to her ongoing health concerns. The last time her family had spoken publicly about her, they shared updates about her well-being, her struggles adjusting to prison life, and her continued fight for an appeal. So why the sudden change in her custody status? Her name, once clearly associated with her inmate number and a status of in custody, now sat ambiguously on the Bureau of Prisons website. It was a stark shift that sent shockwaves through the community. The most plausible explanation was a clerical error. After all, the Bureau of Prisons is a massive federal agency, managing thousands of inmates across the country. A glitch in the system was far more likely than a secret release. But of course, conspiracy theorists and fans alike latched onto the possibility that something much more clandestine had occurred. #### the conspiracy theories. In the digital age, mysteries rarely stay simple. Within hours of the discovery, theories exploded across platforms. Some believed Julie had been released on compassionate grounds due to her health concerns, but it was being kept quiet to avoid backlash. Others speculated a deeper conspiracy, weaving tales of political connections and bribes that had allowed her to walk free in the dead of night. One particularly outlandish theory suggested that Julie had been whisked away into witness protection. The theory held that Julie had turned on her former business associates, providing the federal government with key evidence in exchange for her freedom. While this sounded more like the plot of a crime thriller than reality, it didn't stop the rumor mill from churning. Has anyone seen Julie in person lately? One fan posted on a Chrisley-centric subreddit, "The feds are hiding something." Another theory claimed that the Chrisley family's wealth had bought Julie her freedom, and she was now living under a new identity in some remote location. The theory gained traction after a blurry photo surfaced, supposedly of Julie at an upscale cafe in Switzerland, wearing oversized sunglasses and a headscarf. While the photo was quickly debunked, it fueled the fire of speculation. ### family silence. While the internet buzzed with theories, the Chrisley family remained conspicuously silent. Todd, who was serving his own sentence, hadn't made any statements through his legal team. Their children, Savannah and Chase, were active on social media, but said nothing about their mother's supposed release. This silence only added to the intrigue. Were they covering something up, or were they just as in the dark as everyone else? Savannah, who had become the family's de facto spokesperson during her parents' legal ordeal, posted cryptic messages about trusting in God's plan and the truth always coming to light. Fans dissected her words, interpreting them as veiled hints that something bigger was happening behind the scenes. ###, the media frenzy. It wasn't long before the mainstream media picked up the story. News outlets ran with the headline, "Julie Chrisley listed as not in custody. Has she been freed?" Talk shows discussed it endlessly, with pundits debating whether the reality star had been quietly released or if it was all just a misunderstanding. Experts weighed in, some suggesting that Julie could have been temporarily removed from the prison system for medical reasons. In such cases, inmates are sometimes listed as not in custody when they are transferred to an outside hospital for treatment. This seemed like the most logical explanation, but without confirmation from the Bureau of Prisons or Julie's legal team, the mystery lingered.